So I wanted to explain why I am fully in support of this ban on social media for minors that Australia has instituted. Not am I fully in favor of it. I think that it should probably be expanded to more countries and maybe even expanded a bit more in Australia itself. Let's get right into it. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ministry of Guitar. I'm Utkarsh coming to you from Singapore. Another video on YouTube / social media, slight diversion from guitar, but I think these videos are also interesting to a lot of you. Let's talk about this. I want to begin this with a TV show that I've been watching with my wife of late. I watched it for the first time about 10, 12 years ago, and I'm rewatching it with her. It's Mad Men. And to me personally, it's very fascinating because when I first watched it, I was early on in my marketing career. I was in my early 20s. I wasn't married. And now, as somebody who had a long career in marketing and is married and is much older, in fact, practically the same age as the main character in the show, Don Draper, the show hits differently. What also hits differently is just realizing what all was normalized back in that period this show is set in, because the show is set in the late 1950s to the 1960s. And a lot of things are normalized that you don't expect. Sexism, for example, racism, for example. But the most interesting thing to me is always the cigarettes. Because everybody's smoking, doctors are smoking. They have advertisements where they say that this is the best brand because your doctor recommends it. Like, it's crazy, right? But that just shows you that what appears to be normal and okay to you at a particular point in time may not always seem to be normal and okay, and may not be normal and okay at all, because we know how harmful cigarettes are and how the entire industry repressed these findings and did everything that they could to continue advertising cigarettes and selling as many cigarettes as they could. I find this parallel to be almost perfectly true for social media. Because when I look at cigarettes, the main problem with cigarettes was that one, they were addictive, and two, they had an adverse impact on your health. Right? These are the two problems with cigarettes. Otherwise, why do people have? If you're having fun with it, that's great. But the problem is you're addicted to it, and it harms you. And when you look at social media, it kind of fits that description to a T. Forget the fact that we are all on it and we are all using it and whatever. Forget about that. Just look at what it is. Is it addictive? Yes, it is. It is designed to be addictive. You have teams of people across the social media companies designing how do you maximize view through rate, how do you maximize click through rate, how do you maximize time spent on platform. You may couch that under these technical sounding jargon, but what is it? It is all about how addictive can you make it so that you can maximize the user time on the platform. This is creating addiction. At least a tobacco company just had tobacco and nicotine to deal with, and they could just increase the dosage of nicotine whatever they could. Here, the social media companies have many other levers to play, right? So it is addictive. Secondly, let's talk about, does it harm health? Physical health, maybe not, but mental health? I mean, there are more than enough studies to show what kind of an impact social media has had on mental health, increasing the level of loneliness that people feel despite being connected to more humans than ever, seeing only the best, most curated version, so that rather than you comparing with the person, just to take a guitar example. Today I feel okay with my guitar skills because I just look at the people around me. Of course, there's some rock star who I see sometimes on MTV or something. But practically, I am one of the best guitarists in my neighborhood. And maybe there's a really good guitarist here and there, so I feel pretty good about myself. Versus now, where the entire world of the best guitarists ever are all here on YouTube, and I feel pretty shit about my guitar playing. Now, I don't really feel shit about my guitar playing, but you get the example here, right? That an unrealistic standard is presented to you every single moment of your day because everything is available for you to see, right? And then of course on social media, people sometimes bring out their worst sides, right? Look at the comment section of any video as an example. Look at the forums, how toxic they can get. So is the answer to the question that is social media potentially harmful for mental health? The answer is yes. So from a cigarette comparison standpoint, it ticks the boxes. Now, does this mean social media should be banned? Does this mean cigarettes should be banned? No, of course not. Because it is something that has its benefits for whatever reason, right? Some people smoke cigarettes because they just want to, right? It's their right to do so. It's not the right of anybody to ban them. But it is definitely the right of any society to protect those who aren't adults or mature yet. Which is why, while you can probably smoke after you're 18 is fine, it can harm you, but it's your own choice. You do whatever the hell you want. I think it should be the same with social media. I think it should be the normalization that we've had of social media just pervading everywhere, and it being okay to have companies incentivized to grab our attention, and it being okay uh, to ignore the impact on mental health or brush it aside in focus behind profit. I think it is okay to say that, okay, let's stick with the adults for now, let's leave the children out of it, right? So that's the very, very simple reason that I support this. I totally see it as a parallel to any other addictive, potentially harmful activity that people will still do, because people have to do what they will do what they want to do. But children and and people under the age of 18 should be protected and exposed to it gradually, maybe at the age of 18. Now, I'm not prescribing a perfect solution here because I don't know enough. But essentially, what we need to start off with is acknowledgement that this is not a good thing just because it's normalized, just because everybody does it. We went through this process with cigarettes. Everybody smoked, from doctors to pregnant women to whoever else it might be. Everybody did it. It was normalized. But now, if you look at 2024, it is not normalized. Smoking is, a lot of people still do it, but everybody knows it's harmful. And everybody knows that if you're smoking with children in front of you, secondhand smoke, that's bad for you. Or giving a cigarette to a child is unthinkable. I would really like something like that to eventually be the case with social media, where it's known that it's a potentially addictive, takes a certain level of responsibility. Maybe we need to even look at personal devices through that lens, right? Because a personal device and social media for me are kind of interchangeable. Now, personal devices have many, many good things. You can know where your child is the entire time of the day, right? Connectivity, convenience of ordering Uber or whatever. So there is an argument for the personal device, but that also can again be having a bit of a slippery slope, especially if you think of the amount of distraction that it may create, especially if, say, you're instant messaging all day. So I don't have a perfect solution here, but I do think that what Australia is doing is a great first step. I do think other countries should adopt it. And I also do think that maybe we need to take one step further, a little bit, even in Australia, just to examine how best to execute this, and maybe look at how to reduce distractions a little bit even more for uh, people when they are at that developing age of under 18. All right, folks, I would love to know what you think as well, whether you agree, disagree with me. I have friends who completely disagree. They said instant messaging should be a basic human right. Everybody should be instant messaging all the time, including children, which I disagreed with. But, because I think that you can deal with distraction once your brain is developed, because you have the ability to focus. But if you are young and you're never used to ever focusing, and you're always distracted because your friend is messaging you about that girl he met or whatever it might be, I don't know. I don't think that's right. My position on this may evolve, but that's how I look at it. All right, folks, I'd love to know what you think, and I'll see you next time.